the average income in this community is $500 a year. And that's not enough money for one person to live on. So $500 a year for 4 people, you know, mean that you're living at the point of starvation.
Not 1, not 5, not 10, but 20 for 1. This is history's most amazing romper.
Right now, 8 after 5. Hey, do this. Will you put a string around your finger so you remember? Big day coming up Sunday. Right, Mother's Day. We'll have to make it a big deal.
There's a smiling face. There's more to do here, much more for you here. More stores to see here, you ought to be here.
Well, I lived on a plantation. In fact, that's what I've been doing all my life, living on a plantation. And the last 3 or 4 years, the plantation got kind of hard on the poor people. And I don't know, I just started out with the civil rights to try to help myself. And last year, I enrolled my children in the white school. And that made matters worse for my part. You know, the boss man, he didn't like it, and all the white people around there, none of them like it. I reckon because I was the only family in the country that had children going to that school. They didn't seem to bother them in the town so much. But looked like they just taking out at me. And me and the boss fell out about it. What little it wasn't too much to make us fall out, because I was a Negro, as they call it, and he's a white man, as they call it. And then he wanted me, he did tell me to move. But before that happened, he wouldn't give me no work, and I'd go and the place try to find a job. And I found a job on the road, and he went and told the fellas they couldn't hire me because he needed me. And I went back to the boss man. And he started me to work that next week. I think I made about 40 hours. And that was all the work that he gave me from September up until December. Just because I put the children in the white school.
Well, white people can keep you from getting on welfare. They can keep your children from getting assistance. They can keep you from getting a job. You don't have any money to pay rent anywhere if you can find a house, or they can put you off the plantation. All these powers belong to the white man alone.
Well, my kids start feeling aware of white people by the way they treat them. They always are just far from them. The kids will go out and wave or speak lots of times, and they don't speak or don't wave back. And that always make them feel that they is against them for some reason. And they're just mostly afraid of most of them. Well, I feels all right about white people. Some of them are good, and I don't hate them for no reason. I just always wondered, why did they hate Negroes?
Probably what I said was, or what I meant, whether I said it or not, was that like for rabbits, for deers, and any other animal that you think of that people kill for food, you have certain seasons of the year that you can hunt them and you got to buy a license. But for black people, you know, the season is open all the year.
I know that any white man in town could shoot me down any day he wanted to, and nothing would happen to him. And every Negro has to live with this every day.
They don't want to wait any longer, and they're not going to wait much longer. Well, if things don't change, everybody be killing up each other, and we'll be having the same problems here that they have in Vietnam. In mostly every town, they'll be fighting and killing until somebody considers what's right.
Sit on Daddy's knee. I got something to tell you, black woman. Don't you howl loud. Well, I'm going out in Texas, black woman. To hear that while I'm on. Every down on this southern black woman.
If I were a Negro, I would find it very difficult to like white men in general. And I would be very suspicious of the motives of any white man in particular, whether he came to me saying how much he loved me or came to me saying, I'm going to keep on beating you over the head. It's a product of 300 years of absolute repression of Negroes by whites. It's also a product, I'm afraid, of a political system which has great virtues, but one of them is not rapid change to meet the demand for rapid change. And what is wanted now by Negroes today is something which the system, not only in Mississippi, but in the nation, is simply not going to produce. And the system is controlled by whites. And by that I mean a truly revolutionary upheaval. The farming revolution in the Delta today has been fashioned by the tractor, which eliminated the need for lots of people to stand behind mules with plows. Then the mechanical picker, which now in the Delta picks over 90% of your crop. And finally, the chemical herbicides, which eliminated to a large degree the need for hand labor for chopping. So there's no more need for the hand labor. And the society at large has very little need for people who have never known anything except to hoe and outdoor labor, and who are not particularly well educated, or in fact are very badly educated, and who, when they try to get something else, were quickly kicked in the face. And so what's the point of trying any harder, or trying to get out of it, because you can't. You know you can't. The system's got you beat, and the system's white.
I think there's an element of love between the old Negro employees and their employers. These men are good men. They know how I like to operate. They do the job the way I want it done, and I pay them well. And they've come a long way. You know, I didn't have much when I first came over here, and they didn't have anything either. And now one family's got 2 cars and a TV set and a washing machine and all the necessities, a 3-bedroom house with inside plumbing, and this is something that the Negro didn't know about 20 years ago.
Housing, food, clothes, the color of our skin.
Colored people won't bite. I don't know why that they feel that we're so much different, but after all, they want you to work for them. They want you to work in their homes and cook for them, and still they prefer you to come in the back door and go out the back and not get near them, when all the time you make their bread and they eat what you cook. I just don't understand it.
The powerlessness of the blacks within the South is a reflection of the fact that the blacks in the South were freed in 1865 or 66 without any kind of a base to earn a living, although we were promised 40 acres and a mule. And of course this is another blank check that America has written the black man in this country. The first one, I think, was in 1776, when we wrote into the Declaration of Independence that all men are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, among these the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The black man tried to cash that check and it bounced. In 1865, they wrote us another check offering us 40 acres and a mule if the black man would take his position with the North against the South. Well, hell, I ain't got my mule yet, and a lot of people ain't got their 40 acres.
I've got a home in heaven, yes, I've got a home, oh, yeah. I've got a home in heaven, I've got a home, oh, yes. I know that I got to move someday, but this old ugly house
church has been the only place that the black community had to congregate. And this is where much of the philosophy has been obtained, and this is where much of his respect is.
Oh, yes. Yes, I got a home. I know I got a home.
They taught us to say, you know, have all the world here, take all the world. Just give me Jesus. Because if you suffer here, then the more happiness you'll have after death. They even have a saying that say, the more rugged the cross, the brighter the crown. And Negroes have been taught to live, to die. And this is the black man's religion that was a form of Christianity that was taught by the white man. But only the black man practices it. The white man does not practice this form of Christianity.
"50 years ago, there's no doubt about it in my mind, the Negro was terribly exploited in this country. There's abject poverty, the way I see it. In fact, when I first encountered it, it really upset me, because coming straight out of London, you know, I had no idea about these things. But there have been such tremendous improvements made in the 20 years that I've been here, that I have observed personally, that I really think we're going in the right direction. And the Negro realizes that too, I think, the chap that lives down here. Now, these agitators, you know, that come in here from up north, I don't think they really understand the local problem here all the time. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But some of them are so young, I don't think they really do. But the local Negro here knows that he's making progress. It may not be as fast as he would like it to be, but you can't change these things overnight. 20 years is a relatively short time when you've had a system going perhaps for 300 years, you know.
I can sit around a whole day thinking and just get so worried till I could just scream sometimes. Thinking about what I should do and what I can't do, and what I would like to do.
The logical thing, it seems to them, is to move into the cities. And they have not prepared themselves to cope with city life. They know nothing about city life.
Somebody comes along and says, hey, there's a heaven over here, and you make up your mind like that, and bing, you pick up and you move.
The name of this tune is Mississippi Goddamn. And I mean every word of it. Alabama's gotten me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest. And everybody knows about Mississippi Goddamn. Alabama's gotten me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest, and everybody knows about Mississippi Goddamn. Can't you see it? Can't you feel it? It's all in the air. I can't stand the pressure much longer. Somebody say a prayer. Alabama's gotten me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest, and everybody knows about Mississippi Goddamn.
The nation is kind of caught up in an urban panic. It's very short-sighted. It doesn't see the whole problem as beginning back here in the South with a repressive system, which is why people fled and went north to the ghettos. About 300,000 black people moved to Chicago and Detroit and places like this.
And there is no cotton to chop and pick in Chicago and New York and Boston. They become involved in the frustration and the hopelessness that takes place in the city, and they throw their brick in the bomb.
And so if he goes to Chicago and he lives in a slum and can't find a job, he has to put on a show. He has to show that it worked out well. He writes letters back home telling Mama and Cousin Susie and everybody else how wonderful it is up there and how he's sure glad he left, and that he'll come back and see them on the 4th of July. And lo and behold, he does. He gets on a Greyhound bus for $10 and rides to Memphis and rents himself a car and drives a brand new car into the plantation where Aunt Susie lives and shows it off as his own car and tells how well he's doing and everything, and then drives it back to Memphis, gets on a bus, goes back to his slum dwelling in Chicago. So-and-so says he's doing all right up there, and that's what they want to believe, is that there is somewhere else where it ain't quite so bad. They're going to believe that. And, you just don't change people's minds with the facts at that point. The whole thing is shifting the problem from one place to another and never really solving it.
Yeah, white people fear change and black people fear change. White people fear change because black people would take over many of the positions that they hold. Black people fear change because then white people will no longer do the little things for them that they might need done. Like if you work on a plantation, you get a house and you're sure you got somewhere to live. If your kids get sick and they are critically ill, the white man is going to send them to the doctor. If you get hungry and you're really hungry and don't have any food, the white man is going to buy you some peas or buy you some molasses so you at least can keep on living. But with the change where people become independent, they have those things to worry about day to day themselves.
I'm sure there is the element of reprisal, there is the element of political sanction, of financial sanctions and all of this. Now, we've had the experience of our house being bombed, the store being bombed, shot at, set afire. I don't know really what other kinds of experiences that one would expect another to go through. But all I'm saying is we've been through, I think, all of what the white man could throw at us. And we've survived it. There are many Negroes who have not had this kind of exposure, who have never really had to take a position and have the white man say, I'm not going to lend you $1, you can't buy nothing here, you can't get no insurance. You know, or call you 10 times a day and tell your wife that your husband is down in the morgue and come get him and all of this kind of stuff. Well, as I say, once you've gone through it and have had these kinds of experiences, you just don't have the fear anymore. And I think that it's marvelous to have lost the fear.
You want to clap your hands, pat your feet, even though you're walking along the street, and if you got it, all right. You want to fall down on your knees and pray.
Well, I would say until 1955, you had a kind of a Negro constituency that was willing to say to the white man whatever he felt the white man wanted to hear in order for him to get by. Some people now say that communications are closed as far as blacks and whites are concerned because there is this tension, there is this strain. I don't think that it's a question of communications being closed. I think that the white community hears the black community louder and clearer today than they've ever heard us before. But I just think that they don't like what they're hearing. And
I've talked with white people that told me they would rather work for, say, $1 an hour if black people work for 50 cents an hour than to make $3 an hour if everybody was going to make the same amount of money, because they got to be superior to somebody. And as long as white people have got that attitude and colored black people don't have anything to counteract it with, we're going to always be poor.
We might have to run.
Well, I don't know. There's so much they can do that. So much the white can do that we're not allowed to do or we can't do or something. Because they got all the money and then they... And I guess money make a man got plenty of money, that makes him have a lot of power on it. And so I guess that's why they do what they want to do. And I don't know.
Car number 67. Car number 69. On the inside, run over the 16.
Fear of change in the past has been a major factor in why we did not move ahead economically and educationally here. But today the problem as far as leadership in this area is concerned is not fear of change. It's inability now to get off the treadmill of lack of education, lack of job training, a lack of the money to provide it, and having none of this, the lack of the ability to attract the industry which could feed upon trained labor, which would provide more money to provide more education.
My children, all of them, mostly like to go to school. They like to go. And I keep them in as much as possible, but there's a lot of time that I can't send them. When I works, I always have to keep one of the older children's home to take care of the smaller ones. And they'll miss school. If I work a week, I'll have to keep one each day out of school to take care of the smaller ones. No one there to cook for them, to see for them, or and I'm away working and taking care of someone else's kids. It feels very hard.
The modus operandi of the white community is to teach to the black child that the white man's ice is colder, the white man's sugar is sweeter, and that white folks are smart and black folks are dumb.
School is a regimentation. It's a way where you learn how to be an Uncle Tom. It's a place where you learn what your place is. But it doesn't teach them anything about themselves except a bad kind of negative thing about themselves. So without really respecting the child, the system, shoves him out. He doesn't drop out, he's pushed.
When you segregate a child because of his race, you are likely to warp his mind in a manner never likely to be undone.
Sometimes I do get mad, and then I just go and try to forget it. Well, it don't do no good, I don't guess, to get mad. Well, it'll never be if you don't fight it. It'll never get better. If we don't fight it, it'll go from bad to worse.
Too many of them, and we're short on ammunition. Make every shot count.
Somehow we have to decide for ourselves which are the right values and what kind of values we should have. And they are beginning to resent the fact that Western cultures have been forced on them and that they have accepted Western values and done away with their own values. And we sense that nobody can say Western values are right and African values or the black values are wrong.
It's not a question of putting an idea or an ideology in their head. People know what they want. How do we get out of this feudal society? How do we begin to not be dependent on the man? How do we begin to find independent housing or independent jobs or independent this and that?
That Negroes have to build their own economic structure. Negroes have to create their own political structure, not to work within the system that now exists, but in order to change that system. People will be poor as long as people have to depend on the people who put them in poverty to get them out of poverty. And I don't think people are about ready to do that.
Make them tell them move way behind. Let it go another way.
We've got a lot of things that can be done when the people are organized. And this is kind of our key thing, is get yourselves organized so you can not only respond to what the other side does, but so that you can create your own program and begin to actively push it. We don't have money to lobby. This is people's politics. We got people. We got people to lobby. And this has to be done on a whole nationwide scale or we're lost.
Well, what I'd really be proud of in life is just have a nice place to live and a good living. I don't prefer to be a rich man like a lot of people. Just a good living where I wouldn't have to suffer. If I needed something, I'd be in shape to go get it.
So I go back to the South not in despair. I go back believing that the new day is coming. And so this afternoon I have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day, right down in Georgia and Mississippi and Alabama, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to live together as brothers. I have a dream this afternoon that one day, little white children and little Negro children will be able to join hands as brothers and sisters. I have a dream this afternoon that my four little children will not come up in the same young days that I came up within, but they will be judged on the basis of the content of their character, not the color of their skin. I have a dream this afternoon. Negroes will be able to buy a house or rent a house anywhere that their money will carry them, and they will be able to get a job. Yes, I have a dream this evening that one day we will recognize the words of Jefferson that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I have a dream this afternoon. I have a dream this afternoon that the brotherhood of man will become a reality in this day. With this faith, I will go out and carve a tunnel of hope through the mountain of despair. With this faith, I will go out with you and transform dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows. With this faith, we will be able to achieve this new day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing with the Negroes in the spiritual of all, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty.
Well, if things don't change, everybody be killing up each other, and we'll be having the same problems here that they have in Vietnam. In mostly every town, they'll be fighting and killing until somebody considers what's right.